So we'll skip ahead a little here to, you mentioned that you worked on President Obama's 2008 campaign, is that right?
That's correct.
And did you join in 2007-ish?
No, I joined it at the beginning of 2008.
Okay. What was your role in the 2008 campaign?
My role in the 2008 campaign was a role as a senior advisor with responsibility for communications, press, and research, and policy.
Did your relationship with then Senator and Vice Presidential candidate Biden change during this time? Did you start interacting with him more?
I interacted with him a little more, primarily around preparing him for his debate against Sarah Palin. I was part of that team.
And we'll talk a bit more about debate prep later, but just to touch on it a little bit, what did debate prep for that debate against Sarah Palin look like? How did you prepare him?
Well, I wasn't in charge of that debate prep, but it was, group meetings, talking through issues, mock debate, conversation after mock debate, fairly standard debate prep.
And how would you assess then Senator Biden's abilities during debate prep at that point?
This is the debate prep.
Against Sarah Palin
Yes,
in 2008.
Yes.
I really don't remember having a strong impression of it one way or the other. So,
But it didn't strike you as memorably bad?
again, I'm having trouble remembering it. It was a long time ago. The debate itself ended up fine, so.
So you remember his performance?
Oh, I do remember his performance in the debate. Yeah.
And you said it was fine.
It was fine.
How else would you characterize his performance in that debate?
That is the characterization I'm giving. It was
Fine.
fine. Yeah.
His communication skills and his delivery were fine.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You mentioned this again as well earlier, but you then served as interim White House communications director during the Obama administration. Is that right?
I did in 2009 from, again, to the best of my recollection, the beginning of April through the end of the year.
I have around November. Does that sound right?
I left at the end of the year. Yeah.
And then when you left at the end of 2009, did you return to SKDK or did you go somewhere else?
No, I returned to my firm.
During that time between the 2008 campaign and the 2012 campaign, did you maintain close contact with the Obama White House?
No, I think it's fair to say I had contact with friends who worked in the Obama White House. And having been part of that organization was involved primarily with the planning for 2012.
That organization being SKDK or?
No, I'm sorry, I apologize. Having been involved with the Obama campaign in 2008, after I left the White House, I would say my primary dealings with them were around starting to plan, 2012.
So you interacted with them every how often with people at the Obama White House?
Now that's a difficult question for me to answer accurately. I had very good friends who I'm sure I interacted with a great deal, although I can't give you any kind of numerical thing. And then in a sort of organized capacity, I don't remember how the structure was in terms of meetings, but I did periodically attend meetings on the political side.
Who were the friends that you were mentioning that were working at the Obama White House during these 2009 to 2012 years?
Well, Pete Rouse, who had been Senator Daschle's chief of staff, is a dear personal friend of mine and is someone with whom I would have had contact. Valerie Jarrett was a dear friend of mine. There were many friends of mine on that staff.
Did you interact with then Vice President Biden, same time period, during that time?
No, I actually can't remember any interactions I had with Vice President Biden until 2012.
And at that point, you worked on the 2012 campaign, is that right?
I was an advisor to the 2012 campaign. I did not work full-time for the 2012 campaign.
Did you help President Obama and Vice President Biden prepare for their respective debates during the 2012 campaign?
I did.
I understand that you don't have a strong recollection of then Senator Biden's 2008 debate prep. Do you have a better recollection of his 2012 debate prep?
No, I don't remember specific issues as they came up. The one thing I remember from that debate prep was, having come out of a very weak first debate that President Obama had, the sort of necessity for him to go out there and be very energetic to prosecute the case, energetically. And that's what we told him he had to do.
Are you talking about Obama or Biden?
No, I'm talking about Vice President Biden in his debate against Paul Ryan, because the first Obama Romney debate had not gone as well as we had hoped it would, and therefore the next debate was the vice presidential debate. And so we really saw Biden's performance as an opportunity to go put some energy back into the campaign.
And was Vice President Biden successful at doing that?
In my opinion, as a political observer and someone who worked on the campaign, yes.
What made him successful?
He was very energetic and very aggressive in the debate.
How would you say his communication skills were during the 2012 vice presidential debate?
Communication skills are a pretty broad category here. I would say his performance in the debate was strong.
Did he win that debate against then future Speaker Ryan?
Well, I certainly thought he did. I think there were those who disagreed. So
I didn't know that they give out a winning award ticket.
We all talk about who wins debates, right? Yeah.
So after the 2012 campaign, did you go back to your firm SKDK again? Is that right?
yes, I had been at the firm through the 2012 campaign. I was acting as a consultant to the Obama campaign, not as a full-time employee.
And to be clear, to go back, you were a full-time employee during the 2008 Obama campaign, is that right?
That is correct.
Do you recall how much you were paid for the 2008 campaign?
No, I don't recall exactly. I was paid whatever the senior staff on the campaign were paid. And we had a very cheap campaign manager.
You don't have I actually don't know what that position pays roughly. Do you have a range you could share?
I don't remember, but obviously the Obama FEC reports are available, so,
I'll ask it broader. Was it less than $4 million?
yes,
Was it less than $8 million?
yes,
All right.
to the best of my recollection.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. So you returned to you had been at your firm, but you, after the 2012 campaign, you were at your firm. Did you maintain close contact again with the Obama White House during the remainder of the Obama administration?
Again, I had friends there. I didn't have as close contact in terms of going to meetings or anything like that because we weren't looking at a re-election campaign. So I would say it was probably more, to the best of my recollection, it would be more personal contacts that I had with people at that point.
With your friends at the White House?
With my friends. Mm-hmm.
So you didn't interact with Vice President Biden during Obama's second term?
Boy, I do not remember interacting with him at all during the second term.
So then,
I'm sorry, I did attend a Christmas party at the Vice President's residence. during that period. So, just to be clear.
Thank you.
So I think I have a picture of myself with Joe Biden from that period at a Christmas party.
Do you recall talking with Vice President Biden at that Christmas party?
I was in a photo line, so it was probably a very brief conversation.
And then you became a senior advisor on Joe Biden's 2020 presidential campaign, is that right?
Yes, I was advising the campaign in 2019 without having a formal paid role with the campaign. And did not take a leave from my firm to become a full-time employee of the campaign until 2020.
So eventually you were a full-time employee of the 2020
Yes, I
campaign.
was.
And prior to that, while you were just advising it, was that just volunteer work?
It was to some extent volunteer work, yes.
And to the other extent, was that part of your SKDK role?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you're asking.
You said that to some extent, you're prior to becoming a full-time employee on the 2020 campaign, you were to some extent volunteering. What did you mean by that?
Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't clear. I also, my firm's direct mail unit was hired separately from me to do some direct mail for the Biden campaign, which during the primary was actually pretty non-existent because we had no money. So.
And in 2019 or 2020, did your interaction with then candidate Biden increase?
Yes, it did.
Did it increase in 2019 while you were doing these direct mail operations and volunteering, or was that in 2020 that it increased?
It was in 2019. I was part of a strategy group.
And so how frequently would you interact with then candidate Biden during that time?
It's hard for me to characterize that accurately. There would be times when we would interact pretty regularly, certainly around the planning of the launch of the campaign. And then there were, weeks at a time when I would not speak with him directly.
We'll come back to a little bit more detail of, again, each of the positions where you were directly working for President Biden or his campaigns. But I just want to flesh out the last couple of positions here. After the 2020 campaign, you were a senior advisor to President Biden from the beginning of the administration in January to around August, is that right?
That's correct.
Why did you leave in August?
I hadn't been planning to go into the White House to begin with. I had already worked in the White House, wasn't necessarily looking for a White House role when I helped on the campaign. The president asked me to serve though, but I had told him it could only be for a limited amount of time.
So there was an agreed upon end date at the beginning, is that fair?
Yes.
What did you do? I'm sorry, you returned to the White House eventually in May of 2022 in the same role, is that right?
It's a slightly different role. I served in 2021 as a temporary employee with a SGE, Special Government Employee. When I returned in May 2022, it was as a fully commissioned assistant to the president.
Assistant to the president?
Yes.